Today we will be installing the Linux operating system in VMware. So what is VMware? First of all, we need to understand the concept called as VMware. If you understand that, then we can go for the installing Linux operating system. And course curriculum and course details, you can come to know about each and every concept whenever we are discussing. You don't require any course. What you are learning about the Linux basics. So storage management, user management, and file permissions. These are the concepts that you are going to learn. So you don't need to worry about all the things. We will be discussing one after the another. So everything will be pretty clear once you are completing the topic. So a topic is completed, then you can have your doubts, and we will be clearing it out. And if I come back here, so today we'll be learning about what is VMware, why it is so important for the companies. In each and every company, there is VMware or else virtualization. Virtualization is present in each and every company. So what is this virtualization? Why we require that? And all the things we are going to sort out today. And after that, we will be installing the Linux operating system in the VMware. And after that, we will be closing the session. So now let us discuss about VMware. Previously, before 20 years or else before somewhere like 15 to 20 years back, so there will be only physical servers. For example, if you are having an application, suppose there is an engineer who has to work. Suppose there is an engineer who has to work in Windows. So he is working on the Windows. Suddenly he got a project where he has to work on Linux. Okay. Now he has only Windows laptop or else Windows machines. So he is only having the Windows servers. Now suddenly he has to change from Windows to Linux, which means that he needs to purchase the Linux servers. And not only that, if I want to run any application, so there will be multiple applications. Now what is my question? I want to run multiple application in multiple servers. Some servers will be accepting the Linux, and some applications will require Linux operating system, and some servers will require Windows operating systems. Some applications will require Windows operating system. Now when I come back here, what is my requirement? I want a server with I want to run an application with a server configuration as 1 CPU and 4 GB of RAM and somewhere like 50 GB of hard disk. So this is what my application requirement. And there is one more application, that is 1 CPU, somewhere like it requires 8 GB of RAM, and it requires some 100 GB of disk space. Now these are the application requirements. If you see here, if I go back, purchase a server, and the server will have, mute yourself. Who is this? Can you mute yourself, please? Anjit? Okay. Now when I come back here, now there are servers. In these servers, if I want to deploy an application, I will deploy the application in the server. And the server capacity is, for example, the server capacity is somewhere like 1 CPU and 32 GB of RAM and somewhere like 1 TB of hard disk is there, which means 1000 GB. Now what is my application requirement? My application requirement is, I require, or else the application require only like this: 1 CPU, 4 GB of RAM and 50 GB of hard disk space. Now what about my server? My server physical space is very huge. If you see the server, the physical space is somewhere like 1 CPU, 32 GB of RAM and 1 TB of hard disk. But among those, all resources are using, you are not utilizing the all resources of that particular server. You are utilizing only some specific resources only. Among 1 TB, which means that among 1000, we are using only 50 GB of specific memory for your application. And among 32 GB of RAM, you are using only 4 GB of RAM for your application. Now what about the remaining resources? All the resources will be wasted. So to overcome this problem, so after several researchers, they have invented a particular solution for this problem, that is called as virtualization. To overcome this problem, they have invented virtualization. So in this virtualization, what we are going to do, we will be having the servers, and these servers we can be configured with the virtualization technology. So the virtualization can be enabled in the processors. Now try to understand this. If I want to run any server or else any computer requires majorly three resources. The first resource is CPU, central processing unit or processor, and the second resource is your RAM, and the third resource is your hard disk. These are the primary resources that you need to have for running any computer. So with these resources only the computer will run. Now what is happening here? If you want to have the virtualization should be enabled in your CPU. Without virtualization enabled in your CPU, you cannot install VMware or else any virtualization software, Citrix, VMware, whatever the virtualization software you cannot install without enabling your virtualization inside your CPU, which means that inside your processor. So virtualization should be enabled. Okay, and then remaining everything is fine. Now the next one is, if I go back here, now types of virtualization. So what is virtualization? Dividing a very big resources into multiple logical resources. Simply if I have to say, there is a hard disk for me. There is an hard disk for me. If you see here, there is this, yeah. Are you able to see my hard disk? So what is the size of my hard disk? The size of the hard disk is 512 GB. Now if you see here, I have divided I divided my hard disk into two partitions, which means that physically I did not break my hard disk, but logically I break my hard disk into partitions. In the same manner, you are having a server. You are having a server. In this server, you are having the RAM, you are having the processor, you are having the RAM, and you are having the hard disk. Now what you are doing, you are going to provide this CPU, hard disk and RAM to your virtual servers. So simply if I have to say you with an example, I will say like this. So there is a family, inside this family, father is earning somewhere like 20,000 rupees, and the family is having, or also in the family there are two kids. So child 1 and there is child 2. Child 1 and child 2 is there. Okay. Now for child 1, for his daily needs, he wants somewhere like some 2,000 rupees per month, and child 1 for his or her daily needs require 4,000 rupees. Okay. Now from where you are getting these 2,000 and 4,000 rupees? From your father's money only. Whatever the money that is earned by your father, from this money only you are going to get this 2,000 and 4,000. So who will provide you the money? Directly you cannot go and ask your father. So you will go and ask your mother. Your mother will go to your father and she will bring the money for you. So in the same manner, this is the 20,000 rupees. In the same manner, for your server also, you will be having the physical resources. So the physical resources are one CPU or else CPU, that is one CPU, and somewhere like 16 GB of RAM and somewhere like 1 TB of hard disk. Now I am going to install another virtual machine, a logical virtual machine, or else a logical computer inside my physical computer. I am going to install a logical computer inside my physical computer. For that, I want to install virtualization. I want to install a software called as virtualization or VMware. Now my logical servers will connect to my VMware or else VMware software, and my VMware software will connect to my server, my physical machine. Now the VMware will bring my resources, which means that whatever the logical resources I want, for example, this server or else this server requires some 2 GB of RAM and somewhere like some 50 GB of hard disk. So that will be bring from your physical server, and this particular server requires 4 GB of RAM and some 100 GB of hard disk. That is also bring by your virtualization software itself. So that is how you are going to install your virtualization software. Mute చేయండి. Please mute yourself. Okay. So this is how you are going to install your virtualization. Now let me show you clearly. Come on. Okay. Now if I come back, this is my VMware Workstation Pro. So here what I am doing, I want to install Red Hat Linux or else Ubuntu Linux. First of all, I will create a virtual machine. Now clearly understand what is the operating system that I am using. I am using the operating system as Windows 11. So Windows 11 is the operating system. Inside this operating system, if I want to run a Linux machine, now what I am going to do, I am going to open my virtualization and file, new virtual machine. Next. Okay, next, or else simply I will show you how I can run it, and later on part I will tell you how to install that. So if you can see that I can run my Red Hat Linux inside my Windows machine. So this is called as virtualization. Hope you understand. Now my Windows machine is having, what is the resources that I am having? My Windows machine is having 16 GB of RAM and somewhere like 512 GB of hard disk. Now from the Windows only I am going to get all my resources for my virtualization for my VMware computer. So this is VMware server. For this VMware server, I am going to get the resources from my physical server. And then, so I have installed my Red Hat Linux. Now you need to understand one more concept. So as we are discussing about the virtualization, how many types of virtualizations are there? So there are two types of virtualization, type 1 hypervisor and type 2 hypervisor, or else type 1 virtualization or type 2 virtualization. The type 1 virtualization is called as bare metal hyper, or else bare metal virtualization or bare metal hypervisor, and the type 2 is called as hosted hypervisor or hosted virtualization. What is the meaning of this? Which means that now if you see this, this is the Red Hat Linux server which is running on my Windows machine, Windows physical machine. The Red Hat Linux server is running. So how it is going to happen? First, there will be a hardware. On the hardware, what I am going to do, I am going to directly install my VMware or else any virtualization software. So I am going to install this virtualization software. On this virtualization software, I am going to deploy my guest OS. Guest OS in the sense either it might be Linux or I am going to create my virtual missions, and simply I can say that these are the virtual missions I am directly installing on my bare metal hypervisor. So this is my second virtual mission. On this virtual mission, I am going to run my application. This is my app 1 and this is my app 2. Now this is called as bare metal hypervisor. This is type 1 hypervisor. What you will have the hardware. Hardware means you will have CPU, RAM, and HDD, hard disk drive. On the hardware, what you are going to do, you are going to install the virtualization. The best example is VMware ESXi, VMware ESXi, and I can call it as Citrix Gen servers or Citrix. These are the best example for your virtualization. And directly you are going to install the VMwares, VM virtual machine, VM1, and here you will be installing VM2. And this is on VM1, I am going to run my application 1. On VM2, I am going to run my application 2. So this is type 1 hypervisor. When you go back to the type 2 hypervisor is as similar as like this. There will be a hardware. On the hardware, what I'm going to do, I am going to install my operating system, which is Windows or Linux, any operating system I am going to install. And on the operating system, I am going to install the virtualization platform. Either it might be VMware, hypervisor, whatnot. So I'm going to install that virtualization platform. On the virtualization platform, I am going to install my VMs, virtual machines. And on the virtual machines, I am going to install my applications. App 1 and app 2. App 1 and app 2. Now, so what is this? This is my physical hardware. This is my laptop, I think, hardware. And this is my operating system. Either it might be Windows or Linux. Base operating system. And this is my virtualization like VMware or VBox. So there are so many virtualizations like this. And I'm going to install my first VM1. And this is my VM2. And this is my app1. App1. And this is my app2. So this is type 2 hypervisor. Can you tell me what is the hypervisor that I am using in my computer? Can you ping me in the chat box what is the type of hypervisor that I am using in my computer? Waiting for your reply, guys. Yes, I'm waiting for your reply. What is the type of hypervisor that I am using in my computer? So this is type 1 hypervisor where hardware will be there. On the hardware directly you are going to install the virtualization. On the virtualization you are going to run your VMs. The same manner in type 2 you are having the hardware. On the hardware you are going to install the Windows operating system or Linux operating system. On the operating system you are going to run the virtualization software, and on that you are going to install your virtual machines. Can you tell me which type of virtualization I am using here? Guys, waiting for your messages. If you don't tell, yes, Nalini Kant. Exactly, I am using the type 2 hypervisor or hosted hypervisor. So now if you go back here, now this is my Linux operating system. From here, I can access basic commands also. Let me do one thing. I will log in as root user, or else I will log in as Chaitu itself. Here I can execute my basic commands. ls or else ll. So I can execute whatever the commands that I require. So which means that, hope you understand the concept here, which means that, so this is a virtual computer. In spite of you are having your physical computer, in spite of that, you can run your whatever the, so the virtual machine is also working like as same as your physical machine. There won't be any difference between virtual machine and physical machine. Both are the same. So it can store the data, it can provide processing, whatnot. Everything will be provided as same as to your physical machine only. So this is called as virtualization. Is there any doubts in this? Comment in the chat box, please. Waiting for your reply, guys. Any doubts? Waiting for your replies. Guys, if you don't reply, it will be hectic for me to understand whether you are able to understand or not. Please reply. Any doubts? So now the time is 6:29. I am giving you time up to 6:31. Please post your questions. Waiting for your questions, guys. At least reply me that you have understand it. If you don't have any questions, you already installed the Red Hat, then why again installing virtualization? Can both type of virtualization supported? Can both types of virtualization supported? Can you reframe your question, Nalini Kant? I did not understand your question. And one more thing, here I got a very Ujjwal Kumar. If you already installed the Red Hat, then why again installing virtualization? Guys, Ujjwal Kumar, can you understand what we are doing now? I did not install the Red Hat right now. First of all, we need to install the virtualization. We need to install the virtual machine. On the virtual machine, I am going to install the Red Hat Linux. So this is just an example I am showing. It is an example virtual machine. This is a sample virtual machine just for your sake. How virtualization, how virtual machines will be looking like. For that example, I have shown you this. So virtualization before installing, or else if there is a Red Hat, if all Red Hat cannot be installed before virtualization. First, we need to create the virtual machine, and on that virtual machine, I am going to install the Red Hat Linux. Hope you understand. Can both types of virtualization supported? So where you want to support this virtualization? How do we know which virtualization is supported on the physical machine? Simple. Uh, Whatever the operating system that you, if at all, if your physical machine is with operating system, then which type of virtualization is supported? By default, if your computer is with operating system, Windows operating system or else Linux operating system, which type of virtualization is supported? Type 1 or type 2? In type 1, do I have any operating system? Directly I am installing the virtual machines or else virtualization software on the hardware itself. Then that is called as type 1 hypervisor. Now, if your physical machine is already installed with operating system, then that is called as type 2 operating system. So your computer will support only type 2 virtualization. Is that clear? Yes. Is that clear? Done. So the next topic is, so what are the pre-requirements for your installing Red Hat Linux or else installing Ubuntu? Now already we are installing, already I have an virtualization software. Now what I am going to do is, for your sake, I am going to download the VMware again. Not for my sake, already I am having the virtualization software. So let me go here, VMware workstation 16 Pro. I want to download it for my Windows. I want to download it for my Windows. Yeah, 615 MB of size it is. If you start downloading, it is going to be downloaded, and installation is as similar as your normal software installation. Next, and install. So your virtualization will be installed. Once VMware is installed, then you will get a icon like this. Then you will get the icon like this. VMware workstation. So you will get an icon like this. If you don't find it out, go to search bar. In search bar also you can find out VMware Workstation Pro. You can get the icon like this. So just to tap on that, your virtualization, your VMware will be open. Okay. And the next one is, this is the one software that you require. And the next software that you require is Putty. So let me show you. App Biz. So I already have my Putty software. I just uninstall the Putty software first. So what is this Putty software? You will come to know about this. Just give me a second. So first of all, let me download that. So to download Putty, putty.org. Go to putty.org website, download Putty, and click on this Putty hyphen 64-bit x86. Download that. So download Putty. and next open. Okay, so simply next install. So the putty application will be installed in your system. If you don't find it out, just go to search bar putty. If you type putty, you will have the putty application available. Why we require this application? I will tell you within a while. So you got your putty application. Now you got your VMware. Now you got your VMware and as well as you got your putty application. Now what is the connection between this VMware and putty application? Now, if you can understand clearly, see here. Actually, the servers are located in a remote location. When you go and work in a company, the servers will not reside besides you, which means that they will not be in your own company or else in the client location. You might be working in Bangalore, or else you might be working in Chennai, or else you might be working in Hyderabad, or else you might be working in some remote locations. But the physical servers will not be residing between or else residing in the same region where you are working. The servers might be at another location. The servers might be residing, if at all, if you are working in Hyderabad, the servers might be in Chennai, or else if at all, if you are in Hyderabad, the servers might be in Jaipur. Now, every time if you want to access this server, you cannot go near to the server. Then for that, what I am going to do? So my company will assign a computer for me. This is my computer that is assigned by my company. Now inside that computer, I will have a putty software. This is the putty software which is present inside my computer. And the computer is connected to the internet. Computer is connected to the network or else internet. And my server is also connected to the network or internet. Network or internet. Now what happened here? From the putty terminal, by using putty terminal, what I am going to do? Whatever the server that is deployed in the remote location, I am going to access that server. From the putty software, I am going to access that particular server. So for that reason, I want my putty application and as well as I want my VMware. So in VMware, what I am going to do, I am going to install the remote server, and this is my client application, which is my putty software. With the help of this software, I am going to log into my server. So this is what actually happens in your company. In each and every company, Linux admins are going to access putty terminals only to access their servers. Now, coming back to the next one, how can I install my Red Hat Linux? For example, let me go back here. Now, what is my consideration? Do I have any server right now? Right now, just think that I don't have any server. So when you install the VMware, you too don't have any servers. Now you have to create your own server. File, new virtual machine. Now I will go with the customized. So I am purchasing a server. I am purchasing a server logically. Think that you are going to purchase a server physically. Here you are going to purchase the server logically. Now I want a server, and which type of server you want? Basically physical. If at all, if you are purchasing a servers, then you will go for the manufacturers like Dell, HP, and whatnot. You will go with the Citrix Gen servers. These are the different types of servers you will purchase in the market. In the same manner, here I am creating a virtual server, and that too in the VMware. So I am going to select which type of hardware. I want workstation 16.2x. Next. Just click on next. And which type of operating system you want to install in this server? I want to install Red Hat Linux. So I selected Linux and Red Hat Enterprise 8 64-bit. Next. And where you want to store the server in your computer? I want to store my server in C drive and this particular location. Next. And how many processor you want in your server? I want one processor and 2 cores. These processors I am going to get from my physical processor. Okay. Next. How much amount of RAM you want? I want 2 GB of RAM is more than enough. This 2 GB of RAM I am going to get from my physical RAM. My physical RAM is 16 GB of physical RAM. From this 16 GB of physical RAM, 2 GB is allocated for this server, which means that my physical RAM now, what is the capacity of my physical RAM? It is only 14 GB. Next, next, next. I will go with SCSI. Next, next. So how much amount of hard disk space you want? I want somewhere like 20 GB is more than enough. So store the virtual disk in a single file. Next, next, and finish. Now if you see, I have created my own server. This is my own server where I can install my Red Hat Linux. Now for installing the Red Hat Linux, definitely I need to have a CD or DVD. So how can I install an operating system? I can install the operating system through pen drive, or else I can install an operating system to CD or DVD. But this is a virtualization. This is a virtual machine, which means it is a logical machine. It is not present physically. So how to install that? For that, I am having a CD that is called as ISO file. So for that, we are having a CD that is called as an ISO file. So how to download that? Let me go back here. So first of all, I will show you how to download Ubuntu ISO file. Ubuntu download 2004. Download Ubuntu desktop. Just I will go with download Ubuntu. Now Ubuntu file will be downloaded. And now I want to download the Red Hat Linux. For Red Hat Linux is completely a premium Linux. You have to purchase the Red Hat Linux. It is not free of cost. So for that, what I need to do, I need to take the subscription, or else I need to register into the Red Hat account. So Red Hat Linux download, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. First of all, you need to create a Red Hat account. So to creation of Red Hat account, so you need to have a Gmail ID. So a valid Gmail ID is required to create the Red Hat account. So if I click on download, it will ask me for registration. Yeah, log into the credentials. So I will go with the register for Red Hat account. You can register for it. Already I have the same registration, so I don't go for the registration. So, but here you can give your username, password, whatnot. How can you simply create a Facebook account in the same manner you can create your Red Hat account? Try to understand. So go back to the login page. I already have the credentials. So I will log into my account. It is taking so much amount of time. On. So once you log into the Red Hat account, automatically Red Hat ISO file will be downloaded. The ISO file will be of size somewhere like 11 GB, 9 GB to 11 GB. So you can download that. With the help of that ISO file, I am going to install my Red Hat Linux in my virtual machine. So how to install that and how to do that, you can come to know about that in the next class. So there you go. So cancel. You're already logged in back into the application. Simply I can go with Red Hat Linux download. After creation of your account, just download it. Download. You see here, Already I am logged into my account, so I don't need to log in again. So it is going to ask me that. So what you want? I want my Red Hat account. So where is it? There you go. How much amount of size it is? It is 12.11.25 GB. That ISO file will be downloaded, and once the ISO file is downloaded, I can install my Red Hat Linux. So installing Red Hat Linux, we can see in the next class. So as of now, we have cleared out what is virtualization, what are the prerequisites to install your Red Hat Linux. Tomorrow we will be installing the Red Hat Linux and we will be going for some basic commands. Is that clear? Any doubts here? And this is the second demo that we are providing today. And tomorrow we will have the third demo. And from Monday onwards, so the three demos will be closed. And from Monday onwards, your normal classes will be, your continuous classes will be commenced. So whoever are interested towards joining the course, please pay your fees on or before tomorrow evening, or else by Monday morning. So or else by Sunday, maybe Sunday. So why? Because you will be getting the link. The link will be different for you from Monday. Hope you understand the concept, and hope you understand this Linux. What are the prerequisites, and try to install in your computers, whatever the computers. So to install the VMware, definitely you need to have i processors, i3, i5, i7 processors, and you need to have minimum of 8 GB of RAM to install the VMware. So that's all. Those are the prerequisites to install the VMware. So is there any doubts apart from this? Is there any doubts? Could you share what is the class timing and duration? Class timing will be from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. and duration will be 45 days. How much do you cover shell scripting? I cannot say that this is what I am going to cover. So I am going to cover like functions, and I am going to cover the basic shell scripting commands. So whatever that are required for you to get the job, that I am going to cover. That I can say. Could you share the course content? So already I have shared you in the last class. Again, I will showing you the Microsoft.com. If you go here, Linux. There you go. This is the course content that you can have. What about admin level? So what do you think about admin level? What is meant by admin level? Can you share me that? What is meant by administration level? What you are thinking that admin level will be? I'm waiting for your reply. What you think about admin level? How much do you cover admin level commands? Hmm? So you can come to understand all the commands. So what are the commands that you are expectations? I don't know, but you will be understanding all admin level commands will be covered in my classes. Don't worry. You cover SED, AWK, and other commands. Obviously, I am going to cover those commands also. SED, so stream editor, AWK, and all the other basic commands will be covered in the classes. Don't worry about that. Any other question regarding the course? That's it. Yum is Yum, Yellow Dog Update Manager. Yes, Yum is also going to cover in the classes. Don't worry. Questions, guys? So you can go through the curriculum once what I am going to cover in this. So you can have the clear cut understanding, and then you can join in the class. Okay. So that's all for today. Hope you understand the session. Hope you are going to create your own virtual machines, and you are going to run. Can you explain the database connection through Linux? That's apart from that is not in the class itself. So no, it's purely Linux administration. So I cannot say that. Okay, guys. As of now, I am terminating the session. We will meet tomorrow and discuss about a few more concepts like installing the Red Hat Linux and then what are the basic commands. We will see into that. Have a nice day. Bye.